Let's bring in writer and broadcaster Esther Krakow joining us from the UK. Esther, this is a shocker. He is a disgrace. What more can the royal family do? They obviously want him to hide from public sight forever.
Yeah, I think the latest basically series of the Jeffrey Epstein files is kind of what pushed the king over the edge. And I'm sure he's kind of slowly losing his mind because they wish the scandal would go away. But obviously the complete lack of judgment by the Yorkses, so Sarah Ferguson and the prince formerly known as Andrew, has just kind of made this much worse. I mean, I would say this latest entrancement has shown actually the greed of Sarah Ferguson. But on Prince Andrew, there was a picture that is now circulating of him on all fours hovering over a woman that we don't know, that is not moving. And obviously this doesn't necessarily suggest any wrongdoing, but it just shows the kind of the degree of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And I think the real scandal that people just can't get over is the fact that he actually repeatedly denied having any sort of contact with Jeffrey Epstein after his conviction for pedophilia and and that's clearly proven to be false. Even Sarah Ferguson, in an email exchange a couple of years, I believe, after he was convicted, said that she wanted to be his pet. So clearly this is not someone who had disavowed this man until they actually had a public falling out, I think in 2011, where they cut the ties completely.
See, some of these Sarah Ferguson emails are pretty disturbing too. It seems that she's aware at least of the role of girls and beautiful women in all of this. She seems to be encouraging and even offering up people.
50 Cent just shared something that changes everything about the Epstein story. Why isn't Diddy's name in those files? When you look at all the missing names, hidden videos, and what witnesses say, it doesn't look like an accident anymore. It looks planned. 50 Cent is making a new documentary, and it's not just about one person. It's about a whole group of powerful people. So who was really in charge of Epstein's island? What was happening there? And why is one of the biggest names missing from all the papers?
Now, this is a tip back in 2009 that was sent to the FBI that references Jay-Z, Harvey Weinstein, and Pusha T. It says, on July 10th of 2019 at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, someone called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to identify herself as a victim of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. This person said in approximately 1994, she revealed herself as a past victim of abuse by Epstein. She described the abuse that occurred during parties, and she also described someone as a friend of someone. In approximately 1996, she revealed that she resided with someone somewhere. An unknown man abducted someone from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, known as Jay-Z. This person claimed that Harvey Weinstein inserted his fingers into... She believed that she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. This person estimated that she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an indoor setting. She said that she suffered abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. She claims that she recalled Leon Black and William Barr, the current United States Attorney General, being present during some of the occasions of the abuse.
The DOJ released a huge amount of information. Millions of pages, thousands of videos, and tons of pictures about Epstein. When they removed the blocked out parts, it showed something scary. Epstein knew the most powerful people in the world. But the strangest part wasn't who was named, it was who wasn't. Diddy, who's facing serious accusations just as bad as Epstein's, isn't in the files. That's weird because Jay-Z, Diddy's best friend, shows up many times. The files even say Jay-Z was used to control people through music and entertainment. So how can two men with such bad reputations know the same people but never be connected? Some people online think the name isn't missing, it's just still hidden. Many documents talk about a third person in the room with Jay-Z and Epstein, and that person's name is always blocked out the same way. That matters because it might be the same person over and over. Someone even sent a tip to the FBI naming famous people and describing parties and crimes. Whether everything is true or not, it shows how big these claims are. And right when Jay-Z's name comes up again, 50 Cent speaks out, hinting he's not just watching the news, he's making a documentary. Not just about Diddy, but about everyone connected. Because if Diddy and Epstein knew the same rich and powerful people, the real question isn't why wasn't he listed? The real question is, who wants to keep him off the list?
One person who wasn't in the Epstein files was Diddy. And this person said the reason why Diddy wasn't in these files was because he was his competition. So I was like, man,
he was whose competition?
Epstein.
Oh.
Diddy was Epstein's competition.
No way.
Diddy wasn't at none of the Epstein parties or at the island.
That's crazy.
You know 50 Cent was somewhere stretching his fingers like, another pose. 50 probably woke up, saw the headlines and said, God is good. 50 Cent jumped on Instagram and posted the article on his page and wrote the caption, I know I'm late on this, but this is kinda crazy. What do you do to get thrown into that mix? And he posted a picture of Jay-Z and wrote the caption, damn, they got my man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this. Bro, don't tell me you about to do a Jay-Z documentary that's gonna be even more spicier than the Diddy one you dropped. Now we all know that 50 lives for moments like this. This is like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and tax season combined in one. 50 don't even need facts, he needs content.
Jeffrey Epstein's victims have long said they believe they were being filmed by the sex offender. And this footage from a spy-cam-style camera inside Epstein's Palm Beach house appears to show just that. The footage has been obtained for the first time by Channel 4 News. Because the quality is so grainy, during our investigation we analysed it frame by frame, and we've slowed it down here so that you can see what's happening. A man, likely Epstein himself, at one point looks towards the hidden device. Images of what seems to be his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as what appears to be several women or girls. So how do we know what this is and where it comes from? Epstein's Palm Beach property was raided by law enforcement in 2005, where police filmed this footage. Pause it here. You can see his office in the corner of the ground floor living area. This is the exact same office captured in the spy cam footage.
The scarier idea is that this wasn't just about parties. It was planned. The way things happened around Diddy and Epstein looks less like random crimes and more like a business. Rich people getting access, constant spying, and blackmail. Both men seem protected by powerful people. And the biggest thing connecting their stories is cameras, lots of them. Diddy's house supposedly had cameras everywhere. Epstein's places? Same thing. Files and witnesses describe hidden cameras used to record embarrassing videos. Videos that could be saved, traded, or used to control people. And maybe all that footage never came out because that was the plan. It wasn't for the public. It was for control. If that's true, then Diddy not being written down isn't a mistake. It's what you do when you want to protect someone on your team. If you're finding this information shocking, drop a comment below with your thoughts. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash the like button so we can keep bringing you the truth.
Here's what Nicki Minaj had to say. She wrote, your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. And yeah, she's not the first person in Hollywood to say that. I just don't know how much could be in our face anymore before we wake up and realize these people are ruling over us and they win when we're fighting with each other. That's just the reality. I really don't see how you can have a ton of success in Hollywood and not be in the club, because Hollywood was founded upon this. I just don't really care what you call me. It's time for everyone to wake up.
That's why the most believable story isn't that these worlds were separate. It's that they worked together. If blackmail is what matters, then they would share information about names. Who's trapped, who's valuable, who's protected, and who can be controlled. For years, people thought the rumors about Epstein were just internet talk, until the proof started coming out. Now people are asking the same questions about Diddy. And if these two operations ran at the same time, the connection wouldn't be obvious, it would be hidden, because the real goal isn't scandal, it's control.
People like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living killing our people, so how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best hit for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth about anything, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Man. Liars are now the face of our culture.
Jay-Z is just one name. When you keep reading, you see how far this goes. billionaires, government officials, and powerful networks around the world. That's what makes the Epstein files so explosive. They don't just show one person doing bad things, they suggest a worldwide system of access and protection. Even the royal family's connections become part of the story, not as rumors, but as proof of how high this goes. And before you move to the next set of names, you have to think about what's being claimed. Because buried in these documents are accusations so serious, they make you ask a different question. Not just who was there, but what crimes were allowed, repeated, and hidden for years. The deeper you go, the more it feels like the story isn't about one bad person. It's about the system protecting them.
Jeffrey Epstein had a secret child who was taken from its teenage mother at birth. This according to newly unearthed documents from the investigation into Epstein's crimes. Buried in the latest batch of the Epstein files are claims that Epstein fathered multiple children, including one by a teenager. In an anonymous diary entry, a woman describes how at 16 or 17 years old, she gave birth to a baby who was taken away from her just moments after delivery. Included is a copy of a pregnancy scan dated to 20 weeks gestation. She alleges Ghislaine Maxwell supervised the birth and writes that Epstein told her he wanted to create a superior gene pool. The diary was shared by the woman's lawyers, with federal prosecutors investigating Epstein and Maxwell. The Times was able to confirm the woman's real name, but has chosen to protect her identity. I was not able to verify the woman's claims, and if true, what happened to the newborn. It's never been publicly confirmed that Epstein fathered any children, and there's no mention of any offspring in a will he drew up in the years before his 2019 death in a New York prison cell. But several names in the will have been redacted.
The most disturbing part is that some of this wasn't even hidden. Epstein talked about it himself. When you watch old interviews, he doesn't sound like someone afraid of getting caught. He sounds like someone testing how much he can admit out loud. And the more you listen, the clearer it gets. Keeping secrets wasn't just protection, it was confidence. Because when someone believes the system will never punish them, they don't need to lie completely. They can admit some things and still feel safe.
To be some of those videos in these latest releases, and we can play a couple of minutes of that now, in which Epstein discusses being a sex offender.
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it. A heart.
But you earned it.
I earned it.
We went back to this before. You earned it. You earned it advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money.
So, instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
You think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no question. Because I think ethics is always a complicated subject, but I can tell you that with the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India, instead of asking me whether that money should be given to these children for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people.
With that in mind, the next group of names hits different, because it's not just about who sent an email, it's about what those relationships were really for. Bill Gates becomes one of the biggest names in the latest release, with messages that suggest private deals and uncomfortable situations behind the scenes. Online sources say Epstein wasn't just a friend. He was someone who could connect people and get them access. And whether every accusation is true or not, the bigger point is clear. Epstein's real power wasn't his money. It was getting close to important people so that knowing him became a problem for them.
Very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to global health. You know, in retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them in the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself.
Draft.
That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent, some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he
do this and say this about you here.
You know, it's factually true that I was only at dinners. You know, I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, you know, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
And it doesn't stop at celebrities and tech billionaires. The files show connections to government, officials, departments, and even families being brought into Epstein's world. That changes everything because it suggests this was normal, the kind of comfort you only have when you think you're untouchable. Then the story gets even bigger. Emails that show other rich people were actually trying to get invited, asking for access like it was something special. At that point, Epstein's island stops looking like a rumor and starts looking like a place powerful people wanted to visit. This story keeps getting deeper. What do you think is really going on here? Let us know in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and give this video a like if you want us to keep investigating.
And a top Justice Department official says the review of the Jeffrey Epstein files is over. The same official indicated there would be no new charges. Now the Trump administration is facing backlash from Epstein's survivors and Democrats. This was California Congressman Ro Khanna yesterday.
There is a demand for elite accountability, but the survivors' lawyers that I've talked to have said that the survivors are still upset. They're upset that many of their names accidentally came out without redactions, and they want to make sure the rest of the files come out.
CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us from our Washington bureau with more on this. Scott, you've been sifting through as much of this as you can. What's in this so-called final batch?
It's a process. We're still working through millions of pages here, Errol. And it's worth noting these were released more than 40 days after the legal deadline for the Department of Justice to do so. No one besides Epstein and former associate Ghislaine Maxwell has been charged, but the Department of Justice insisting its work is done has only fueled more controversy.
Now, as more documents come out and more people respond, the conversation is changing. The shock is fading, and what's replacing it is accountability. Because being mentioned is one thing, being connected is another. But understanding the system that allowed all of this to happen for so long, that's the real story. And the question behind every headline is the same. Was this just rich people knowing each other, or a system built to protect itself? Thanks for watching. If this opened your eyes, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation. Drop a like if you found this valuable, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments below.